Hello everybody and welcome back to All the Mods 10. In the previous episode, we got started with our new Applied Energistics 2 system, which is basically a massive storage system that we can use for basically the rest of our time here in our playthrough. I'm just using an item vault from the Create mod to store a lot of our bulk items that we don't have a ton of stacks of, but we have sort of a lot of miscellaneous items, and all of our storage can be accessed from here at the crafting terminal. I also spent a little bit of time in between episodes actually going to the Nether, fighting off some Endermen there, and dying probably about 4 or 5 times, but I did manage to upgrade our pickup upgrade for our backpack into the magnet upgrade and then into the advanced magnet upgrade. And this will basically just allow us to pull items in from a distance. So if I try to throw this trowel down, it immediately gets sucked into the backpack. I also managed to find a Blaze instruction manual, which is basically just another spellbook for the Iron Spells and Spellbooks mod. And it has a whopping 10 spell slots in it. Our old one only had 6. And as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, we have a few new spells. So I'm just gonna list these off real quick. I'm not really gonna show them off. We have the Ice Spikes spell, Guiding Bolt we already had, Poison Arrow we already had, Ray of Frost, Oak Skin, which we already had. We now have the Haste spell. We also have Heal and Sunbeam. And of course we have Angel Wings as well, which is basically just our Elytra. So the plan for today is going to be pretty simple. I'm getting tired of killing all of these mobs manually. So what I want to do today is build a mob farm. And if you're as excited as I am to get started with our mob farm, why not hit the like button and subscribe? It helps the channel out a ton and lets me know that you guys are still interested in these videos. If you want to go one step further, why not consider becoming a channel member? It's the best way to support me directly, and you get access to every single one of the videos in this series early. But yeah, with all of that out of the way, let's get started with our mob farm. So the main mod that we're going to be using to actually build our mob farm is the Mob Grinding Utils mod. This mod adds fans, crushers, which will actually kill the mobs, ways to actually collect experience, and it even adds an item that will pick up items remotely, similar to how our magnet works. So the way to actually get started with this mod is building the XP Drain Singularity tank. This will allow us to pull experience directly from our player character, and we'll be able to pull fluid XP buckets out of the tank, which is going to be very important for actually get starting with this mod. Now, unfortunately, I have used all of my ender pearls. I don't think we have any other of the types of pearls. Yeah, unfortunately we don't. So we are going to have to go into the Nether one last time to kill some Endermen. Alright, so I kind of died while fighting some Endermen. I don't even know how I died. I was fighting an Enderman and it decided to just blow up. But I'm building my way slowly back to my body, and I'm very much contemplating getting some flight going, so like some actual flight, because this is this is kind of ridiculous. I'm dead here, I think. Oh, half a heart. Jeez. Yeah, just kill me. Alright, and just taking a look at the jetpacks that we do have access to, I think we should be able to swing getting one of these, actually. So I think we need to start with the... So we need to make thrusters, which require energy cells, which require advanced coils. Okay, overall this shouldn't be too bad. Let's see. If we wanted to make the Invar version, we would also just need advanced coils. Okay. And do they always require the previous upgrade? It looks like they do. Let's see. So we've got our 2 wood thrusters. Now we need a capacitor. There we go. And a leather strap. And here is our wood jetpack. Here's our iron jetpack. And now we've got gold. I think I'm going to stop at gold. Yeah, that should be good enough for now. And I'm curious to see if the charger from AE will actually work for this. Just equipped. It might not work, unfortunately. But hopefully the copper generator will actually have a slot for charging our items. The copper version doesn't. Let's see if the iron one does. I know that eventually it will, hopefully. There we go, the diamond generator does. Okay. So we'll just stick some coal in for now, and that will begin to charge our gold jetpack. And I might also want a battery of some kind to actually store some more power. So I think I'm going to go with the power mod ones. These can each store 1,000,000 FE, so that should be more than what we need. There we go, and I think that's everything for the starter battery. Not too bad. Let's see if we can actually upgrade this. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. There we go, and the basic battery can actually store 4,000,000 FE. So hopefully we'll pretty much never actually run out of power. So in order to actually control the jetpacks, we're going to need to enter a few new keybinds. So I've just assigned toggle engine to the plus key on my numpad. So when we hit that, we can actually begin flying around. And it's very, very fast going horizontally, not super fast going up and down. But you'll notice that we are burning through a lot of power, which is definitely why we're going to need the battery. So if I press H now, that entered some sort of dialogue there. We sort of stay in the air for just a little bit longer now. We are still draining a ton of power though. I'm hoping that jumping from gold to diamond, which increases our capacity from 400,000 to 5,000,000, hopefully that's enough, but there we go. And yeah, this is so much faster than it was before. Unfortunately, though, we are using a ton of power to get over there. Hopefully we don't burn it all, but we should be alright. We did get pretty close previously. I think this is where I just died to this piglin right here. Let me see if I can get this back. And get to the other one. There we go, all cut up now. Alright, so all of that was for 3 warped pearls. And we can convert those into regular ender pearl. And we'll need all 3 of those to be Eyes of Ender. And we'll use 2 of them to make the XP drain. Which I think for now I'll probably just put right in front of our crafting terminal. That way, anytime that we're here, all of our XP will drain into there. So you'll see that it is filling up with fluid XP. We're going to need 4 buckets of it to actually progress, which we've already done, which is pretty nice. I was kind of worried if we were going to have enough or not. So to get the fluid XP out, we just simply right-click. And whoops, there we go. And now we need to make our GM chicken feed. So what we do with this is a little dark. So we're going to need to find a chicken somewhere. And all we do with the feed is right-click the chicken, and it explodes. So what we get from that is a rotten egg, which creates a 5x5 area of dreadful dirt, used on grass, dirt, mycelium, or farmland. So this rotten egg is going to be the basis for our mob farm. So now we just need to make our mob masher. The mob masher will actually kill the mobs in the farm. And we're also going to need a few mob fans. I think I'm going to make 3 of these. And really the last step for this that we need to make from the mob grinding utils mod is the absorption hopper. This will be what we basically collect all of the items and experience in. And I do want this pretty close to my base and where I'm going to be spending a lot of time. So I think I'm just going to put it on the back of our storage facility here. I want it in a similar sort of design to this. This is supposed to be like a little, almost a fishing city. So we're gonna have probably a little alley here, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe starting there and then it'll face that way. And I think a 13 by 13 is going to be probably the most optimal size for this. And I say that because I want the 5 by 5, which will be, I guess, from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then here in the corner. So that'll be like that. What we want is one on the outside, just like that. So I want a 1 by 1 passage all the way around it just for a sort of a maintenance access. We're going to have levers on the fans to turn them on and off, so I figured we might as well make enough room for that. Also, the inside of this is 7 by 7, and that's because with the cursed earth, basically mobs can spawn right on the outside of this. So they'll actually be spawning on the outside of the 5 by 5 on which they can spawn. And if they spawn here and there's, say, glass here, they can actually get through the glass. Which means that they could escape the mob farm, which would completely defeat the entire point. And so I think I'm going to place the mob masher here. And let's see, our absorption hopper. I don't want to place this down quite yet just because it will pick up items as we build. But yeah, it'll go on the in-between here as well. And this is actually able to pick up items through the walls, so we don't have to worry about that too much. And then we'll place our fans on the walls on the outside here, just inside the wall, and over here. Oops, definitely not facing up. We don't want our mobs flying upwards. There we go, just like that. So the fans on the side should, in theory, blow mobs towards the center, and this fan here should blow them this way. Now, whenever they hit the mob masher, they will start taking damage and eventually die, and the absorption hopper will pick up their items. We will also need upgrades for these mob fans. Let's see if I can find those really quick. We'll need the mob fan width upgrades. For a mob farm of this size, we'll need 1, 2, 3, I think 4. 1, 2, 3, maybe just 3. We'll figure that out as we get to it. But for now, I do want to just sort of get the mob farm sort of enclosed right now and get it sort of functional. And then while it's working in the background, we can actually make the building around it and make this area look pretty. So I'm going to be using tinted glass for the walls here. And that's just because tinted glass allows you to see through it, but won't actually let light through it. It works very similar to how the vanilla glass does, but it just requires, I believe it was charcoal or coal instead of amethyst. So it's just a little bit cheaper and looks a little bit nicer as well. It has the sort of connected glass texture on it, so yeah. And by the way, these mob fan upgrades do require feathers, which we're a little bit short on, so we'll only be able to craft one of these for now. But I can at least sort of demonstrate what they do. So if we show the area of these fans right now, you'll notice that it has this sort of blue outline, and it reaches, I guess we're just going to be barely short of the mob masher, but we can go ahead and throw a width upgrade in there, and that extends it by 1 on the outsides. So we will need 2 more for this. All right, so I think that's enough chickens. So we're gonna need 2 width modifiers, 1 distance modifier, and I hope that's gonna be enough. I guess I didn't check how far we're gonna need for the side fans. So for the side fans, I think I'm actually gonna move them over here. That way we don't need to add any sort of upgrades to them. Let's see here, where did that go? I'm going to turn my magnet off for now. So yeah, if I throw the fan down there, show the area. So if a mob ends up here, it should go into the line of sight of this fan and eventually make it into the mob masher. So yeah, I think that'll work a little bit better than having them in the middle. Obviously, it doesn't look as good, but that's alright. This is definitely a function over form sort of thing here. So yeah, that should be good enough to get any mobs that are off to the sides into the middle. Now I just need to add our upgrades here, and you'll notice that these do stack up inside of the fans. So if I show the area, let's see here, that I think that's good enough. So I think it's going right to here. That'll push them there, and then I think they'll get caught by this mob fan there. So yeah, that should be all that we need. In fact, we can even give this a little test. So I'm going to place our levers down on the fans and turn them on. Just one more here. And so now if I go into the top, the mob masher is off, by the way. If I land there, it'll just push me right over. Okay, and from here, let's say. Yep, that sucks me right into the mob masher. Nice. So I'm just going to use the redstone pen in order to actually hook up a little bit of redstone. Now it is a little bit hard to see, but basically the redstone pen can be used to sort of build redstone in ways that it typically wouldn't be able to be used, such as how I'm using it right here, where we're going to be building up on the side of a wall here, and that's just going to be connected to a few redstone lamps, and this is how we're actually going to be able to turn off the entire system. So now if I just toggle this lever, it will turn the lights on inside or off. And the last lever that we do need for this system is one for the mob masher to turn it on and off. So pretty much, I think that's everything other than the absorption hopper, as well as the rotten egg. So when we get this down, let's make sure that we're clicking in the middle. Our redstone lights are on, so no mobs theoretically should spawn in here. But yeah, it'll turn into dreadful dirt. And when we exit here, and definitely get a block back on there so this entire thing is sealed. Turn our mob grinder on. Turn all of our fans back on because I turned those off as well. One more. And as soon as we flick this lever here, actually before we do that, I will get the absorption hopper down. Now, I'm not 100% certain where I want the collection system to be, but for now I think I'm just going to place it right there, and let's see how this looks. So as soon as we turn it off, we should start seeing mobs appear. Might take a little bit, but yeah, there we go. We have our first monsters appearing in the system, and it is already starting to work extremely well. You'll also notice that the items are getting pulled into the absorption hopper through the walls, which is working perfectly. We're also getting a little bit of fluid XP as well. But we are actually going to need to change the sort of area at which the absorption hopper can actually pick items up. So right now we have this yellow grid that sort of shows us the area that it can pick items up in. We're going to need to basically just move it, I believe that's to the west. So if we go offset west, let's see if that moved it. That was the opposite direction. Right, so west is on the left side there. Let's bring it back. There, that should be good. Now we need to go, I believe that's going to be south. Something like that. One more maybe. And I think that's good enough. We shouldn't be getting any drops on this side, so we shouldn't have to worry about that too much. But we might get drops on this side if a mob dies in sort of a weird position. So yeah, I think that's basically perfect for collecting items now. And I just also wanted to quickly replace the grass that was in here with our sort of smooth inlaid deep slate that we're using as the floor in this area. So yeah, that'll just look a little bit more neat, and yeah. So now I sort of want to talk about how we're going to actually store and filter our items. We don't want to just automatically input everything into our storage system because we're going to be getting things like these tarnished crowns and like leggings, and we really don't want anything like that jamming up our system and taking up all of our storage space. So I think I want to use the void upgrades from Sophisticated Storage, as well as some barrels that we've already sort of gathered here. And we can actually use these. Unfortunately, we are going to need ender pearls, so I might have the mob farm run for a little while. But we can basically use the void upgrades to filter out items that we don't want in our system. So here's our void upgrade, and we can turn that immediately into the advanced void upgrade. I believe that this will actually allow us to filter a few more options. And for actually storing our experience, I think I'm going to go with the singularity tanks. These are also from Mob Grinding Utils. They can all hold 32 buckets, and I believe they can multi-block together as well. So I'll probably make about 4 of those. So I think I want the storage to go just immediately below the absorption hopper. And we'll put our advanced void upgrade inside. And I had to turn the mob sounds down. I know that we can use the muffler as well, but I just want to get this done really quick. So with the advanced void filter, what we can do is actually place an item inside. These are going to be items that we don't want actually in our system. And we can have it either just work whenever items are put into the barrel, or if we want it inside the GUI as well. If we have it set up in the GUI, if we put the tarnished crown inside, it'll just immediately get voided. So to get items into the barrel, we need to click on our absorption hopper and select a direction. Let's say, where's down? There we go. Down will be set to item, and you'll notice that items are rapidly entering the system now. And I think I'm just gonna put our tanks on the left side here, so that side is east. So east will be fluids, and that will start draining. Unfortunately, it looks like they don't multi-block. I thought they did, but yeah, I guess I was wrong. So I'll have to set up some pipes in between here. And so now with our system here, we can sort of figure out what items that we do want to actually filter. I'll probably add things like leather helmets, although can these be salvaged, I wonder? We could turn them into leather. I don't know if this can be done automatically. Salvaging. Oh, interesting. Hold on, how do we make this? Crimson iron. I don't think that's too bad. I don't know if it's worth it to keep leather though. So we'll do that. Get rid of shields too. Boots. There we go. We may need a few of these filters. But I think I'm gonna get started building the rest of the build now. And while I do that, I'll sort of figure out our filters and everything and make sure that everything is working properly. Alright, and this is sort of what I've come up with for the sort of outside design for the mob farm. I just used the, I believe this is Darkstone from Forbidden Arcanus, and I just used all of the different varieties. Initially, I just had the bricks, but it looked very repetitive, kind of like how this pillar is. I should probably go through and randomize that one as well. I added these wrought iron lanterns to the outside. These are just being held up by framed stairs with the smooth inlaid deep slate block inside of them. I thought they looked pretty nice, and in fact I even added them to the storage room as well. Especially on this side where, by the way, I did clear out the nether portal. That way we actually have a pretty nice little path going to the mob farm. I just moved the nether portal over here into this sort of dark alley that we have going on right now. On the inside of the farm, not much has actually changed, but what has changed is that this storage system is completely full. I've been clearing items out as fast as I can, but they are just really piling up. So I think I'm going to deactivate the farm for a little while, and I'm going to see if I can mess with the filter. I was hoping that I could actually just invert the filter, so I could put maybe like gunpowder, ender pearls, basically anything that we want to keep inside of the filter, then everything else just got voided. I don't know if that's possible though. But a sort of solution that's not really a solution to this is to actually just get it imported into our AE system. So to get items from a storage, what we need is the ME import bus. To craft this, we are just going to need an annihilation core, piston, and iron. That shouldn't be too bad of a recipe for us. We need to make a piston, and here we go. And so now I should just need to dig a tunnel all the way over to our mob farm. And now we'll just place our import bus on the bottom of the barrel here. And now we can just lead our cable all the way back to our AE system. And by the way, this will consume a channel because we have a machine at the end. So if you're a little bit low on channels, you may want to pull from a new side. But here we go. We have this fully hooked up now, and we should now see items leaving the inventory. It's going to be pretty slow to start off with. We're probably going to be generating more items than we actually take out from this storage. We can craft the acceleration cards to speed up this process a little bit. And to actually use the acceleration cards, we just right-click the import bus and insert them inside. It looks like there is actually a max of 4 that we can insert into this, but that I think that instantly cleared this chest out. Let's see how fast this actually is when we turn the machine back on. It does take a little bit of time to sort of get going again. Let's see. Yeah. Items sit inside the storage for a second or two and they're just gone. That is definitely what we want to see. So the only issue with this is that we are going to be seeing a ton of random bits of armor appearing inside of our system and definitely clogging it up. Let's see if there's trash cans. Yeah, so we could use a item trash can. And so with our export bus here, what we can do is just apply the items in here. It's basically just a filter, and we can place our trash can here as well. And now any item that matches that description should immediately be pulled out from the system. It is going to be a little bit slow, but yeah, it will actually start filtering some of these items out. But yeah, save for a few tweaks here and there, that is pretty much the mob farm completed. That is all the time that we're going to have for today, though, so thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.